Welcome to I Wrote That, a podcast where we bring authors and industry experts together to talk about all things books and make the journey to authorship just a little bit easier. My name is Larissa Sohan, and I am the CEO of Next Page Publishing, a hybrid publishing house where we help entrepreneurs write books to grow their businesses. In 2021, I published my first sci-fi novel, The Defender, through a hybrid publishing company. And from that experience, I learned exactly what not to do. When I joined with this very big publishing company, I was put in a system that was designed to push out thousands of books a year, and I was just a cog in the wheel. And it was heartbreaking when my first book was published and it was a flop. In that moment, I made it my mission to found a hybrid publishing company that was going to give aspiring authors the experience that they deserve. Now, I'm on a mission to help aspiring authors feel like they are in control of the publishing journey and that they are supported by a team of experts who genuinely want the best for them and their books. If you are in the very beginning of your journey, or maybe you have a manuscript that you're finished and you're not sure how to get it out into the world, I encourage you to reach out to us at nextpagepublishing.net. You can schedule your free discovery call and find out how our team of experts can make your journey to being a published author easy, smooth, and successful. Now, without further ado, let's get on to our next amazing guest and make your journey to authorship a little less complicated. I'm always honored when I get to bring someone on to the show that I have personally worked with. And Krister came to my company about 6 months ago and he had a manuscript and he was like, you know what? I want to learn from the best. I want to be the best. I want to publish something that is going to be a bestseller. And we signed him into the program same day. Now, nearly, I think it's been 5 months later, he is a best-selling author of his new book, which released on September 28th, Be Daring, Be Different, Reverse Engineering of Life, from who you are to who you want to be. I'm so honored to be holding a copy of Krister's book after spending hours reading and editing and designing and working with Krister to produce something so personal, so chock full of information and real things that are going to move the needle in people's lives. So I'm going to read the author bio directly from the book because, hey, we worked really hard on that bio, so let's use it. Mentor, international speaker, author, and founder of CEO of CristerJohnsen.com, Krister is an explorer of life. His life motto is, how far can I go? And it's taken him to great international careers. At 29 years old, he was the CEO of his first company. At 34, he was a successful CEO of an international group that operated in more than 30 countries. His motto has taken him up high, mountain hiking, deep down, diving wrecks, caves and reefs, and far away on his sailboat. Now, working full-time as a mentor and coach, he helps people and organizations to set goals, become high performers, and reach their goals and desires to create the life that they really love. Welcome, Krister. Every time I get to bring on a guest that I've actually had personal experience in working with is extra special because I feel like the conversation can go just a little bit deeper because we have this foundation that we've already built up. So welcome, Krister.
Thank you, Larissa. It's nice to see you again and nice to be on this side of our project. I still remember the first time we met on Zoom and I had no idea where the call would take us, but it took us to an amazing journey with you as my mentor. So Thank you for that.
Yeah, and it's been such a pleasure to work with you. And, you know, we're on opposite sides of the world. We've been dealing with time zones and we have editors. One of your editors is in Australia. Like, we've been all over the map with this journey to getting you published, but you came in with a goal. And I remember our first conversation too. You were like, this is what I want. And I was like, okay, I can get you there. I can do this for you. Let's talk about that kind of mindset when it comes to writing a book. Like, first of all, share what your goal was because it was a big one. And then talk about like why that goal was important to you.
Well, I am a mentor too. So I'm used to working with goals, both for me and for my clients. It's one of the things that highly successful people do, is to set high goals that we don't know how to reach. And my ultimate goal is to help thousands of people all over the world every day living their full life. Full life meaning the life they want to live, the life they have potential to live, the life they dream about. And my goal was to make an international bestseller, and that's why I came to you. I had no idea how to do it. That was my goal. And that is how it works when we work with goals. Is we set a high goal and then we make fast decisions. It felt right to work with you. And I think you remember the first call. It was like in 15 minutes, I said, okay, I'll buy you.
Yeah. And yeah,
yeah.
that kind of decisiveness when it comes to our goals is really, really important. And I'm sure you deal with this as a mentor quite often when people come to you and are kind of wishy-washy of like, oh, I want this, but I'm not ready. So what advice do you have when people are like that towards their books? And I see it all the time. They're like, oh, I really want to, but not right now. What advice do you have for the people that are on the fence?
Highly successful people do four things, and highly successful meaning not financially. Well, if finance is important for you, you can reach the financial goals, but it's to live your full life, the life you dream about. One is that you are a fast decision maker. You take quick decisions. You don't doubt. You make a fast decision and then you don't change it. A lot of people are good at making fast decisions and then they change it. We don't do that. We make fast decisions. This I will do. Intuitively, it feels right. You set high goals. That's number two. And number three, you listen only to people that have done what you want to do yourself. I often, as a joke, say you don't go to the bank if you want to be a millionaire because there are no millionaires working in the bank. So I searched you as a best-selling author, being my mentor, because you had done it before. I had no idea. Well, I had a manuscript, but I had no idea what it would be like to go through the editing process, the graphics, and all that. So that's why I searched you. The last thing highly successful people do is that they invest time and money in their own development. They actually train themselves in becoming better thinkers, better doers, and becoming great in what they really want. So those four things are what highly successful people do. And it's so easy to do when you are consciously aware of it. But then it's easy to do and it's easy not to do as well. So you have to have focus and discipline. But that is all it takes. And that's what I write about in my book. Those four things. Make fast decisions, set high goals, listen only to people that have done what you really want to do yourself, and invest time and money into yourself. Have a mentor, have a coach, study books, read, be curious about life, because life is not what you think it is, what you have been taught it is. It's a completely different journey if you work with the universe instead of against the universe.
I think a lot of the people that I work with too are very universe led. They are leaning into their intuition. They're leaning into the signs of what is being presented to them in the moment that's being presented to them. And I think that's really important as goal setters, is like you said, we're not working against the universe, we're working with it. Because if we start going against what feels right and what feels natural in our business, you're going to burn out. It's going to be an extreme case of burnout and sadness because things aren't going the way you want. And finding the connections between what feels good and what's feasible is really, really important, because if they don't line up, well, then you need to make the goal to make them line up. If that makes sense. Like if something is outside of your reach right now, your new goal becomes to get it in your reach.
It's all about self-image. It's about who you think you are. And it's self-image is so funny because it's so interesting, because a lot of people talk themselves down, and the first thing I do as a mentor is to talk you up. It's like some people say to me they have big dreams, but I cannot tell you that because it's so crazy. I say, well, if you had known my dreams and my goals, you wouldn't have any problem telling your dreams to me. And then they open up, and it's just amazing how people want to live. And I tell them, well, it's easy, if you really invest into it, if you really commit to it, it's actually easier than you think it is. And it's your emotions, your feelings. It's a guiding system. If it feels good, do more of that. If it feels bad, do less of that.
Yeah.
But the biggest challenge is actually to make the jump. If you want to be that, Larissa, if you want to be an entrepreneur and you just have to leave the corporate world. I was CEO and president and chairman of companies for 25 years. And then I had to make the jump. I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was bored actually for more than 20 years in my job. I made a lot of money. I had a good, I had everything. And then I realized that my true heart desire, what really matters to me, is to help others being successful. I love the feeling of helping other people being successful.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to change. And that's a big self-image change. And I remember now, it's a long time since I did that. The first time I made my business card, and I'm a little bit old-fashioned. I like giving out business cards instead of just sending my contact info. And then to actually have a business card saying that I'm a mentor instead of a CEO, instead of a chairman, instead of a president of a company, that was a big step. It still gives me goosebumps when I think about it, because that was like an identity change. I said, wow, now I am actually that. And it's the same journey when I wanted to be an author. And it's not very long time ago I wrote that down, that I'm a successful author. And it's just it's weird. I mean, 9 months ago I didn't know I should be that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how fast things go when we work the right way. When we focus on what we want, not the how. We focus only on what we want and why we want it.
Mm-hmm.
And the how will come to you through your intuition.
I think that's a really big part of your book too. I had the pleasure of doing the developmental edits on your book, so I've read it. I know it quite in depth, and it was a lot of fun to edit. And this is one of the big reasons I do the developmental edits, because I get to see inside your world so in depth. And that was a big part of your book for me, is don't focus on the how, focus on the what. And that's really important with people coming through my doors as well, is like, let's talk about the what. What do you want? What do you want from your book? What's the end goal? And I'll help you with the how. That's why you're hiring me. That's why you're bringing me in. I'll do the how. You focus on the big picture.
Yeah, and it's so important, There is a law of relativity in the universe, meaning that nothing is big or small. It's only your perception that defines the big or small. I'm so old that I remember the Men in Black movies. Men in Black 2, the second movie, with Will Smith and all that, and they have these memory erasers, and it's a lot of fun. But there is a certain element of interest in that movie. In the last, or the second movie, they came out with the third one some years ago too, but there was a cat named Orion, and we all know Orion's belt. I grew up, I write about that in my book as well. I was a Boy Scout, sleeping outside, looking at the stars, wondering what is more. I felt a longing of back home, of course, spiritually, already at that time. But then also I was looking at the stars, wondering what more is it to it. And in that Men in Black movie, everyone was chasing this cat named Orion, and he had a small bell, ringing bell, around in a bracelet around his neck. And everyone was chasing him, and no one knew why he was important until you looked inside that little medallion, and there was a galaxy inside that complete galaxy. And that's the main point, is that, big and small is only about your perception. What is big for you can be little for me. What is difficult for you can be easy for me. And what is difficult for me is easy for you, Larissa. It's the same thing, And so about this, when you focus on what, when you focus on how can I do it? You are limited by your perception, and what you think is difficult today is like it's a restriction on your thoughts. So focus on big things. I often say, when you set a goal, be daring, be different, set a big goal. Make it big. What is your dream life? How far can you go? And there are no limits. There are absolutely no limits. The only limits there are is your awareness and your ability to use your imagination to dream it. And the rest is up to you.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
It is absolutely.
97% of the volume of your cell is empty. It's not interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that? It's like, we have 37 billion cells, and 97% of that is emptiness. Wow. So size doesn't matter at all.
No. Yeah. I think, your book hits. So your book is called Be Daring, Be Different, and it is coming out on September 28th. And you have big launch party plans, but this is the first time it's happened to me in this capacity. And I think it's a thank you to your goal and your just unwavering willingness that this is going to happen, or belief that this is going to happen. You became bestseller on pre-release. Like on the pre-order, you hit bestseller within 24 hours. And that is just a testament to that mindset of like, I want this and I will partner with the right people and I will make it happen.
Yeah. And it's just, and it's the will to do it. And it hasn't been, well, the writing has been hard, but it's been effortless. You know, we go with the flow. We follow our intuition. If it feels good, we do it. And so, and of course it's the goal as well. But we had that discussion. You said, what's your goal of a book? I said, I want to have a bestseller. I want to have a bestseller. And the reason why is because I want to reach as many people as possible. That is why my book is very precise. It's not, I don't use many words. It's down to who I am. You know, I'm an experienced business manager, so I'm gonna cut to the core, and that is what I do in my book as well. I explain it, I write it, I inspire you, and then I tell you how to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's the purpose of the goal, to make it easy. Because to me, it's like, wow, I wish I'd known this 50 years ago or 40 years ago. I would be in a blast. My life would have been so different, but I was not ready for that at that time. But then that's why I share it as well. And that is why and the book becoming a bestseller on pre-launch the first day, well, it's just a consequence of how we work. Mm-hmm. And it's that's how it is, you know. I have clients that completely change their life in 3 to 6 months because we turn their focus from what they don't want. You know, a lot of people are worried about things that the media write about. I watch some media, I read some newspapers, but mostly out of interest. It's just like, wow, this is interesting. And then when they see how fast their life changed from not being happy to being happy, and then how they can stretch further and further and further, and they set bigger and bigger goals, and they reach them effortless. Of course, we have to work. You cannot sit down like a monk and just think your life into reality. It's think and act. So you have to do as well. But the doing is much more effortless when you have a goal. Mm-hmm. Because you're not in doubt at all. This is the way. You just follow your intuition. This is the right way to do it. Yeah. And then life happens. It's cool.
I want to come back to something you said, focusing on what you do want, not what you don't want, inviting the positive energies into your life and visualizing what success looks like, because so many of us, myself included, get stuck in the spiral of fear of failure, fear of things not going well, fear of not making enough money, fear of your book being a flop. And instead, your narrative in the book is flip that to inviting success, looking at the positive side of it. Like what if your book is a huge success? What if your book hits bestseller on pre-release? What if you make all of your investment back in royalties? Like, what's going to happen if you look at the positive? And then you're paving the way for that to become reality because you're not fighting against it. I think that was so powerful for me in your book of just flip the narrative and look at the positives.
And it's a training thing. We all have these dips. It's like, okay, well, I failed, and then we learn. But it's like, you know, in finance, we look at for higher lows. We go up a little bit down, 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 and then in 6 months, when we look backwards, we see an increasing moving average, or that we have become someone else. And remember, the goal of a goal is the person we become on the way to the goal. It's not to get that new car. It's not to get that, get that best-selling book. It's to become the author. It's who am I? How many people can I help? That's the purpose of the goal. And that is the driving force as well. And as you say, we focus on only what we want. And so many people are so good at focusing unconsciously on what they don't want. They talk themselves down. They focus on media. They focus on politicians. Remember that the society, they use fear to control you. Never forget that. And when you have faith in yourself, not from an arrogant perspective, it's just humble faith. You know, faith to me is to be able to see the invisible. So I use my imagination and I see my goal. When I close my eyes, Larissa can see that I close my eyes and I smile. What I see is that I'm in a book signing in this amazing bookstore, and I sign a lot of books, and there is a queue of people there. That's one of my goals. It's just wow, and it makes my heart blossom. It's like wow, it feels good. So I see the invisible. I believe in the incredible. I believe it. And I'm ready to receive what others say is impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if people say, well, you cannot do that. You've never done it. No one has done it. I said, well, then I'm going to be the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know. I don't know when. I don't know how. But I know I'm going to do it. And all it takes is the will to do it.
Yeah. I think it's that when I relate a lot of these conversations back to conversations that I have with my daughter, who is 5 years old. She's almost 6. She is going through that process of building up her beliefs and her belief in herself, her values. All of that is in formation right now for the next couple of years. And we have these conversations, and I find myself so often just thanking her for trying. Just thank you for trying. Even though it didn't go the way we wanted it to, maybe we didn't like the result, we tried. And that's the important part. It's not necessarily even the result. It's the fact that you tried in the first place and you were willing to fail or succeed. It's that leap of faith. And that's what I think we lose as adults, is that willingness to try, even if it could go wrong. And I think that's just, it's so important to have these conversations, and partnering with people like you as a mentor who has that mindset of like, let's just try. Let's focus on if it goes well, let's just do the thing and try. Yeah.
Yeah. And if we don't try, we will always regret it.
Absolutely.
I will die not regretting anything I wanted to do. I will do everything I want to do. And I'm in 1.5 weeks, I'm 54 years old. And I started to say this 3 years ago. My next 30 years will be my best. And I just keep rolling it. My next 30 will be my best. My next 30 will be my best. It's just an attitude,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing as grasping the day. Just take the day and say, this is cool. I appreciate this day. This day is my masterpiece. I want to become better. I want to develop. And just practice focusing on what you really want, and don't let everything going on around you affect your feelings. Remember, your thinking, your thoughts affect your feelings affect what you do, your actions, and your actions create your result. That is a very, very simple explanation of what we call law of attraction. Mm-hmm. What you think affects your feelings affect your actions create your results. That is how easy it is. If you are afraid of something, you don't dare to do it, then you never know what's on the other side of that fear zone. Every time I'm afraid of something, I said, shit, then I have to do it.
Yeah.
It's an order to myself. Why I'm afraid of this? Now I have to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Just force myself.
Yeah.
And the beauty is on the other side of that terror barrier.
Yeah. Because that fear can be rooted in excitement as well. Like once you make that decision, like, oh, I'm going to do this, that fear, like, because fear, anxiety, excitement, they're all the same chemicals in our brains. They're all the same neurons firing. It's just our interpretation of them. And so when you say, oh, I'm scared of this, now I have to do it, it can become exhilarating. Oh my gosh, I'm going to do this thing that scares me. And then you kind of get addicted to it. That's what I've found with leaping into entrepreneurship, of like, oh my gosh, I get addicted to that feeling of pushing myself, of setting new goals, of achieving new goals. And it becomes this new habit. So instead of always backing down because I'm afraid, now we're always stepping up because we're excited about the challenge. Yeah. And it's just a mindset shift. That's all it is.
It's a mindset. It is. And I often listen to Abraham Hicks talking about Esther Hicks, as Abraham, as a medium, talks about law of attraction. And I attended one of our seminars earlier this year. And Abraham had a very, very nice explanation of what is a truth. A truth is a thought that you have thought many times. So you think it, and then you believe it. You continue to think it. So that is how we can reprogram your mind too. Focus on only what you want. Just continue focusing on what you want. Then you become better and better at ignoring what happens around you. You can use your goal as a flip switch. If something bad happens, focus on your goal. You feel good. You use your imagination. And it's very, very interesting. And that is how we kind of reprogram our minds as well. How do we change our self-image? Like me becoming an author. I mean, I have a master in finance and economics. It's like I've written a lot of things, but I've never been an author. I started writing down every day, every morning, repeating it. I'm an international successful author. Just like how I changed from a business manager to a mentor, I'm a successful mentor. I just started and just changed my self-image, who I am. And it is by changing your self-image, what you say that you're good at and what you say you're not good at, you change to the one who reaches your goals effortlessly. And it's a totally, I know you studied psychology, Larissa, and it's a totally different route. It's like, wow. And one of my clients is a very, very experienced psychologist. He's an expert in that. And he writes reports in crime things and all that. And he said, Christer, the things you have taught me, and he has completely changed his life in 6 months. That should be a part of the psychologist study. I said, yeah, it should, but then you wouldn't have so much to do. And then we both laughed about that.
Yeah, it's working yourself out of a job, right? I think that's every counselor's goal, every therapist's goal. It's never going to happen, but work yourself out of a job. All right, Christer, I'm going to ask you one final question. It's my favorite question. What advice do you have for aspiring authors who are on the fence of, should I write a book or not?
Oh, it's the 4 things that highly successful people do. Make fast decisions. I want to do this. And, procrastination is the route to failure. Don't procrastinate. Do it. It's like, okay, just do it. Then set high goals. I want to be a bestseller. Listen only to people that have done what you really want to do. Get a mentor, like I did with Larissa. I searched it and I used my intuition to find it. And then invest time and money into developing yourself. It's an amazing journey. And when you have all these words inside you and you have you feel the talent and maybe the love of changing someone's life, which is a book can do that. I mean, the beauty of a book is that, just the intro can change a person's life completely, whether it's a fiction or a crime book or like me, a personal development book. If you have that inside you, just do it. Just do it. You will never regret it. It's an amazing.
Yeah. And the world will be a better place because you've done it. I always think of my messages as changing the world, even if it's one world, one person at a time. That's your goal, to help a lot of people. And if it's one world at a time, that's still, you've changed the world of one entire person. That is no small feat. So thank you so much, Christer. Your book will, by the time this episode releases, it will be out. It comes out on September 28th. And we're going to put the link down in the show notes. So you can go ahead and you can check out all of Christer's teachings in Be Daring, Be Different. So thank you so much, Christer. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of I Wrote That. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our show so you don't miss any of our upcoming guests. And if this has led you to some inspiration to want to get started on your own authorship journey, whether you just have an idea or you have a manuscript that you're ready to publish, reach out to us at nextpagepublishing.net and we will match you up with our team of experts to make the journey simple, easy, and smooth.